So number 5 is vomit if it fills the mouth.
If it's vomit, the vomit breaks the wudu for Ahnaf. They say vomit breaks the wudu if it fills the mouth. But this is not again, not an agreed upon view. Malikis and Shafi'is, for example, they say it doesn't break wudu whatsoever. And for the same reasons. For the same reasons we talked about, why does blood not break wudu for the other 3 verses, the Hanafi madhab. The same sort of reasons, same sort of views. So the vomit is called al-qay with alif lam al-qay, qaf ya and hamza al-qay. That's a vomit. And there is another word which is called qalas. Al-qalas or you can say qals with the fatha on the lam or sukoon. That's when you have like sometimes something comes up with a burp, but it's not full mouth. So Ahnaf say the vomit breaks the wudu. What did they say in the book?
If it fills the mouth.
If it fills the mouth. There are 3 views on it. One, if it fills the mouth, or others they say, well, if it was more than half, or they say it was enough that a person couldn't speak or couldn't hold it back. In any case, it will break wudu. That's what the Ahnaf say. It will invalidate the wudu. So mouthful is described as it's difficult to stop it. Or it's enough that you can't talk with it in your mouth. Or it's more than half the amount. So it's a good enough amount. It's not just a little bit, just came up. That wouldn't. No one thinks that breaks wudu. And if you remember, we discussed hadith in the previous section. من أصابه قيء أو رعاف أو قلس, and it continues أو مذي فلينصرف and then فليتوضأ. So that hadith, even though it's da'if, I said if the matter is disputed, in what we will discuss today, is because both sides, they don't have an authentic hadith, authentic enough hadith to base a view on it. It's based on either qiyas or either on hadith or narrations which can be disputed. That's why there is a dispute. So that hadith which says if someone while praying and he has qay, meaning a mouthful of vomit or ru'af or nosebleed or qalas, like I explained. So it says he should leave the salah, do the wudu again and come back without talking in the middle and continue his salah from where he left off. That's the Hanafi view. They give fatwa on this. The hadith is da'if, that's why it's not accepted by the other fuqaha. For Hanbali view, they say the qay, which is full mouth or more, which comes from the stomach, obviously the food, it comes back. That breaks the wudu. Full mouth or more breaks the wudu. And what's less, they say qalas is what's less. It doesn't break wudu. So if it's full mouth, it breaks wudu, and if it's less, it doesn't break wudu. It's not much different than, I think, from the Hanafi view. There is a hadith the Hanbalis, they have mentioned in their books. It says, and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam qa'a fatawadda'a. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did qay, and then he did wudu. This is probably the best hadith on the subject, but even this hadith, many people have classified as da'if. Not all, but many have. So for Hanafis and Hanbalis, if we can maybe put them together, because if you say full mouth, they both say the full mouth will break wudu. So we can say if it comes from stomach, if it's full mouth or more, and it's all in one go, it will break the wudu. Some of the Hanafi fuqaha, they say if it was in one sitting, like Imam Abu Yusuf, he said if it was in one sitting, he said doesn't matter if it was small amounts, but it kept happening until if you look at the total, it would be considered full mouth. Then he says breaks wudu. And Imam Malik obviously and Imam Shafi, they don't accept that view, because they have another hadith. They say Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam qa'a falam yatawadda. There's a hadith, he did qay and he didn't do wudu. And again, there's the problem with the authenticity of the narration. Because there is nothing strong on the subject, so there is no real dalil. That's the Shafi'i view. And Maliki view, they say there is no real dalil for something to break wudu. Going back to what we said when we were discussing bleeding, the wudu is validated, or the purity is attained by by the teachings of Sharia, and it will only be invalidated by what Sharia has told us that it will invalidate. So because there is no strong enough dalil on the matter, Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, they say, well, the full mouth or no full mouth or half mouth, regardless, it does not break wudu whatsoever. In their books of the Ahnaf and then Shafi'is, and you will find that when a matter is disputed, there is a lot of logical reasonings. Both sides have their reasonings, but you can go into logical reasonings. By the end of the day, we know their views, and you won't convince anyone with a logical reasoning or the matter of Sharia if you haven't got a proper dalil.